St. Anne Parish, welcome to an early edition of Quick Things. It's a Ash Wednesday, winter weather, fish fry ready edition of Quick Things. So this is coming to you a bit early just to anticipate Ash Wednesday, which now has been muddied a bit, it seems, by some winter weather. So as we have just learned, Wausau Public Schools have announced that they will be closed tomorrow. Newman Catholic Schools will weigh in on that in the morning. Regardless, Ash Wednesday goes on. And it seems like in the weather, there could be a window where things will clear up a little bit. So hopefully within that span between 7 a.m. when we gather for the first time on Ash Wednesday to 6:30 our last time, hopefully either those two or 12:15, 5 o'clock, we can squeeze in a time to come and begin Lent together. Now, obviously, we don't want to put our lives at risk, and that's always true, whether it's the Lord's Day or Ash Wednesday. If the weather is bad, if we are sick, the church doesn't want us at church if we're sick. And if the weather is bad, the church does not want any of us to put our lives at risk or the lives of others. But if it's feasible to come and worship, that would be a great thing to do on a wintry Ash Wednesday day. It would be an important thing to do. And so if that's feasible, because of the weather, hopefully working out the times already, we look forward to having you join us on Ash Wednesday. Now, if circumstances are such and it's simply not reasonable to come to be at church, the 5 p.m. Liturgy will be live streamed, and a link to that 5 p.m. liturgy is included in the quick thing. So you just join it at 5 p.m. live, or you can watch it anytime after that as well. But again, not to use the weather an excuse. If we're able to get here, the roads clear up for a few hours, certainly it would be important to come and begin Lent with our Ash Wednesday rituals and scripture. As part of our Ash Wednesday liturgy, we will gather a collection for a charitable cause, not for the parish. The collection will go to support earthquake recovery efforts in Turkey and Syria, part of the work of Catholic Relief Services, who work in conjunction with other relief agencies. So again, that will be the collection for Ash Wednesday. We will be distributing, as part of that liturgy as well, or afterward, little black books. So these are the prayers or books for adults. Little purple books will also be available for children, so up to about 4th or 5th, 6th grade. So as you're arriving for Mass, or more importantly, as you're leaving, please remember to take a little black book for adults, purple books for kids. Rice bowls to support the ongoing work of Catholic Relief Services. Our Lenten Almsgiving Project also will be available. In the Quick Things email, there's a link to a Lenten message from Bishop Callahan, so please give some attention to that, as well as links to a few online resources. More of these will be coming in upcoming weeks, but right now, the Ignatian or Jesuit community has a great online resource available, Beauty in the Desert. We'll have a link to Father Bob Barron's daily Lenten offerings as well. You could also find that on the main page of our website, santanswausau.org, but we'll have a link to that in the email. Also, I want to share I will be sharing in this week's Quick Things, really a good pre-Lent or even a good Lenten homily. I may actually borrow from it for my homily this coming Sunday. It was preached this last Sunday by Father Columbus Stewart, who is a Benedictine at St. John Abbey in Collegeville, Minnesota. You've heard me mention them before. Father Columbus is actually world-renowned. I don't know if he's an archaeologist, but what he does is he works in places such as Iraq, Syria, recovering and preserving ancient manuscripts, many of them scriptural, prior to scripture, scriptural, like Old Testament times. So he has kind of dedicated his priesthood, his life as a monk, to finding and preserving these manuscripts. And he was actually featured when some of these things were being threatened by the wars in Syria and Iraq, etc. He was featured in a report on 60 Minutes a few years ago. I was on sabbatical at St. John's in 2017, and I didn't have a chance to meet Father Club. I don't know if he was out doing his work in interesting places, but I have gained a great appreciation as I've joined the community online over these years of the pandemic. I've come to appreciate very much his preaching, and he had an excellent homily this last Sunday on the temptation of judgment and how easy it is for me to be lured in to judging and diminishing people. So I really encourage you to give some attention to that. You know, last Sunday's gospel was on loving our enemy, Jesus said. And as he points out, this judging approach that we can so easily fall into has nothing to do with loving our enemy. In fact, it creates greater division. So that a link to that homily is in the quick things, and I hope you might give some attention to that. And then as we go through Lent, there'll be more Lenten resources opportunities, maybe presentations and things that we'll provide links for in the quick things. Fish fries are Friday. So once we begin Lent, let's get right into it. So the first fish fry is this week. There's still some folks who are needed to help make that happen. So please give some attention to the sign-up link that's in the quick things. It'll identify, you'll see where there are openings yet for people who are needed for various tasks, primarily Friday night, I believe, the night of the fish fry. So if you haven't signed up already, please pay attention to that, and hopefully you will be able to help fill the ranks. So we are ready at full speed, full staff to have our first fish fry. So serving is from 4 to 7. There's also carryouts you can call at some point during the day to do that. But I think it's always, well, first of all, the food just tastes a lot better if you're there in person. So if hopefully you're already signed up to help, and thank you for that. If not, and you're not able to do that, we hope you'll join us for dinner. And then spread the word to others to participate as well. We'll be doing it on all of the Fridays of Lent. Finally, I just want to make sure we're all aware of a very special event coming up on March 30th. So when Belmar Jansen, the composer and musician presenter, was here during Advent, Belmar mentioned that she'd be coming back to the Diocese of La Crosse in the spring to do her complete one-woman presentation on the life of Sister Thea Bowman. She did a very abbreviated version with us, and many of the people who were part of that evening gathering, which was affected by the weather as well, so kind of a theme here tonight or today, many of them were right on board to be part of this, to want to see Belmar in La Crosse. And so we're going to take a motor coach bus from Wausau. It'll leave at 1 p.m. And head down to La Crosse. Since we're going that distance, we're going to do a few other things in addition to Belmar's presentation. We'll have a tour of the Maria Angelorum Chapel at St. Rose Convent, which is just a beautiful church, a beautiful place to visit. And it's where Sister Thea would have spent time praying when she was alive and a member of the Franciscan Sisters of Perpetual Adoration. Many of us are familiar with the FSPAs. I had them as teachers in school. And so it'll be a way to kind of root ourselves with Sister Thea and her prayer by touring that chapel. And then we'll have dinner at Viterbo University. And joining us will be some sisters and other university folks, friends of Sister Thea. And so we'll have kind of a conversation about her and recollections of her prior, and maybe Belmar will stop in as well, we'll see. And then Belmar's presentation also at 7 o'clock that night, and then we'll head back, hoping to get to Wausau 11 o'clock or so. We'll see about the return time. I'm not quite sure on, but we hope you'll join us. There is a link in the quick things. You can sign up. If that seems too complicated, call the office. We'll work it out. The cost is $50. That covers all of the expenses of the bus, the dinner, everything else. So kind of a good deal, a great, I'm calling it a one-day pilgrimage, a great Lenten experience to connect with someone who is so rooted in the gospel and such a dynamic presence in her life and her ministry. So really a wonderful way for us to spend a Lenten afternoon and evening. That's all I have. I hope we all do okay surviving the weather. We're all stocked up. So when this big blizzard hits on Thursday, we will be okay. And I suspect we will. I hope we will. And we'll see you at the fish fry, I hope on Friday, but also let's remember really the most important part of Lent are the Sundays of Lent and coming together to hear the scripture that has been in place since almost the beginning of our faith on these Sundays of Lent, especially in this year A of our lectionary cycle, but also just a different approach to how we worship, to what we do as we come to worship, and to recognize that crucial element of the Eucharist and being and praying with one another. And maybe more importantly, as we go through this season of conversion in these days of Lent. So Ash Wednesday tomorrow, fish fry on Friday, Lord's Day, Saturday night and Sunday.